Good morning everyone. Welcome to Math Cube. I am your resource person Deeksha. In the last session we spoke about direct and inverse proportions. This time we will be taking up the problems from the NCERT book. In the last session I discussed the problem number 1 from exercise 13.1. Today we will be starting with the subsequent problems and finish them. So, let us have a look at question number 2. It says a mixture of paint is prepared by mixing 1 part of red pigment with 8 parts of base. In the following table, find the parts of base that needed to be added. Now, have you all seen how painting happens in houses or of furnitures? You have to select a particular color shade. And how is that color shade prepared? There are some color concentrates or pigments which have to be added to the base, right? This is what it happens. So, here in this question you have been given that a particular color of red or particular shade of red is prepared by mixing 1 part of the red pigment with 8 parts of base, and you have to fill this table in which different quantities of red pigments are given, and we have to find out the corresponding quantities of the base color, right? Now, like I said in my previous class, the step 1 is to check whether the two quantities are in direct proportion or not. So, do we all agree that if I increase the quantity of red pigment, I will have to add more quantity of base in order to maintain the same color proportion? Yes or no? If I have to get that particular color shade, the more red pigment I add, the more base I will be required to add, so that my original color combination remains intact, right? So, this is a case of direct proportion. Now, like I said, you have to start by tabulating the values, that is making a table. Here already the information is provided to us in the table form. So, we did not worry, we can proceed as it is. Are we all understanding this, children? Okay. After this, what do? We take, now what is the condition for direct proportion? We saw in the last session that x1 upon y1 equals to x2 upon y2. So, since the two quantities are in direct proportion, we can say that x1 upon y1 is equal to x2 upon y2. Now, the first step is to find this value. Now, we let the part of base to be added to 4 parts of red pigment be A. Now, let us assume that this blank is A. So, the part of base which has to be added to 4 parts of red pigment, that we let it be A, right. So, using this we say that 1 upon 8 x1 upon y1 1 upon 8 equals to x2 upon y2 4 by A. Yes or no? Are we all understanding this, children? So, we say that since the two quantities are in direct proportion, x1 upon y1 equals to x2 upon y2. Therefore, we are just substituting the values here. 1 by 8 equals to 4 upon a. Now, this is very simple to solve. We can say that a equals to, a goes here, 8 goes here. So, a is 4 into 8, that is 32. Therefore, we need to mix 32 parts of base to get 4 parts of red pigment, right? So, A now becomes equal to 32. Is this first part understood by all? Now, we move to the second part. So, similarly, we can do the second parts as well. Now, let the part of the base to be added to 7 parts of red pigment. Let us say that this is B. This is B. Okay. Now, again using the same fundamental that x1 by y1 equals to x2 by y2, we are just substituting values. So, we take this and this and we say 1 by 8 equals to 7 by B. So, this implies B is equal to 7 into 8, that is equal to 56. So, what do we say? We say that we need to mix 56 parts of the base coat to get 7. We need to mix 56 parts of the base to 7 parts of the red pigment, right, to 7 parts of red pigment. Have you understood this? Now, the remaining thing is also the same. It's just applying the same concept again. Now, this will become easy for all of you. Is it easy for all of you? So, just take 2 minutes and we will see quickly what are the values of C and D using the same concept. Using the same concept, let us understand what are the values of C and D. Let the part of base to be added to 12 parts of pigment B, C. So, here we write 12 parts of pigment B, C. So, again just by substituting the values, we take this 1 by 8 equals to 12 by C. This implies C is equal to 8 into 12, 96. Therefore, we need to add 96 parts of base to 12 parts of red pigment. And finally, we have to calculate D. We'll just say let the part of the base to be added to 20 parts of the red pigment be D. So just by substituting values here, you get 20 by D equals to 1 by 8 equals to 20 by D, which is D is equal to 8 into 20, that is 160. So we can conclude that we need to add 20 parts of red pigment, we will be required to add 80 parts of the 160 parts of the base. We will be required to add 160 parts of the base to 20 parts of the red pigment. Right. Now, just a little thing, you will all be wondering, why have I equated only the first which is given to us to remaining parts? For example, can I not equate if I have calculated this, can I not use this to say 4 by 32 equals to 7 by B? I am sure a lot of you would be wondering that, ma'am, I can use this also and this will also give me the same result. B is equal to 32 into 7 by 4, which is equal to 8 into 7, which is 56. So yes, you can use, once you find out A, you can use the comparisons of this and this, and subsequently this and this, and then this and this, you can use. But the word of caution here is that in exams there are separate marks for calculating A, B, C, D, right? So if you get A correct, you will have some marks. If you get B correct, you will have some marks. If you get C correct, then you will have some marks. Suppose you falter in A, you have a wrong calculation here in A, and you keep on using A to calculate B and to calculate C and to calculate then D, you will lose all your marks, right? So the safest thing which you should do is use 1 by 8 for calculating the remaining values, right? Do not, if you are absolutely sure that these values are correct, then please go ahead, and if you are not sure, then you use these the first one as a comparison. And how do you cross check? Ultimately, after everything has been done, you can easily cross check if you have calculated correctly, because all these ratios should be the same. So first ratio is 1 by 8, this is first ratio. What is your second ratio? Second ratio is 4 by 32, which is again 1 by 8. Your third ratio is 7 by 56, which is again 1 by 8. Then what is your fourth ratio? 12 by 96, which is again 1 by 8. And finally, your last ratio is 20 by 160, which is also 1 by 8. So after you have finished and there is time left, you can quickly check all these ratios in their simplified form, and if you get the same value, you can be sure that the question that you have attempted is correct. Okay, so have you understood all this? How you can, so this one sort of question is where you will be given one value and you have to be finding the corresponding ratios. Is it making sense to all? Okay, right. Okay, just a little error from my side, 7 8s are 56. Okay, is making sense to all? If this is clear, Can we move on to the next question, which is the third question in the exercise? Everybody? Great, great. That is the kind of enthusiasm we require from all. Lovely. We are moving to the next question then. Okay, now we move on to question number 3. This question is a continuation of second question, and it says that if one part of red pigment requires 75 milliliters of base, how much pigment should we mix with 1800 milliliter of base? Now, like we said, the step 1 to the solution will be tabulating it, right. So, we make a table which is like this. Now, you have to tell me what will come in the table. So, this is part of red pigment and this is the measure of base in milliliter. So, just try to read it and simultaneously quantify it or tabulate it. If one part of red pigment, so one part of red pigment requires 75 milliliter of base, how much pigmentation should be mixed with 1800 milliliter of base? So, you have 1800 here, and this is the quantity that we need to find out. So, in the last question also we said that as the red pigment increases, we will require more quantity or more measure of base, yes or no? So, the quantity of red pigment is in a direct proportion to the quantity of base. Therefore, x1 upon y1 equals to x2 upon y2. Since the two quantities are in direct proportion. This step is understood. Now, what do we do? Just substitute. So, let A be the required part of red pigment. Okay. So, here x1 upon y1 1 by 75 equals to A upon 1800, right. x1 upon y1 equals to x2 upon y2. Therefore, how do we calculate the value of A? This will be 1800 divided by 75. So, when we simplify this, we get 360 by 15 and then further you divide it by 5, 3s are 15, 72 and then you get 24. Yes. So, this A equals to 24. That means, we will require 24 parts of red pigment in order to mix with 1800 milliliters of base. Is it making sense to all? Okay, we move to the next question then. Let us now have a look at question number 4. Now, I am sure you will be more confident to solve these questions. So, it says a machine in a soft drink factory fills 840 bottles in 6 hours. How many bottles will it fill in 5 hours? Now, let us first try to see whether it is a case of direct proportion or not. Now, we know that the more bottles you are required to fill, the more time it will take. So, as the number of bottles will increase, the time taken also increases. Therefore, Can we say it is a case of direct proportion? Yes. So once we have established that it is a case of direct proportion, what it is the first step that I told you we need to do? We need to tabulate. So first step is that put this information in the tabular form. So it says that number of bottles and time taken in hours. So for 840 bottles, the time taken is 6 hours. So how many bottles will the factory be able to fill in 5 hours? Since it is a case of direct proportion, we know x1 upon y1 equals to x2 upon y2. Since two quantities are in direct proportion, right? Now let the number of bottles required be A. So here we put A. Now just substitute the values. So 840 by 6 equals to A by 5. What does this mean? This means that A equals to 840 into 5 divided by 6. So when you simplify it, you get it as 6 ones are 6, 140 into 5, that is equal to 700. So we say that A equals to 700, which means that we will require that the factory will be able to fill 700 bottles in a time period of 5 hours. Is it okay? Is it making sense? So the factory will be able to fill 700 bottles in a time period of 5 hours. So this is clear to everybody. Can we move to the next question? Fine. Now let us have a look at question number 5. Now this question says, a photograph of a bacteria enlarged 50,000 times attains a length of 5 centimeters. What is the actual length of the bacteria? Then the second part of the question is, if the photograph is enlarged 20,000 times, what would be the enlarged length? Now let me try to draw it out first. Now let us see, suppose the bacteria is something like this, okay. Right. So what you do is, we all know that a bacteria cannot be seen by the naked eye. So you have to look it under a microscope and capture a picture. Now once you capture the picture under a microscope, then you can zoom it and see, like any other picture that you can zoom. So when you zoom, you are able to enlarge the length. Now the question says that once you enlarge it 50,000 times, the size of the photograph is 5 centimeters. So you are able to see that the length of this bacteria becomes 5 centimeters, right. So the question is, first part says what is the actual length of the bacteria. Now the more you enlarge the photograph, the more will be the length of the bacteria, right. the more you zoom the photograph, the bigger the size that bacteria will be. Yes or no? So, we can say it is a case of direct proportion. So, in such questions, now we know it very well that we have to first tabulate. So, when we tabulate, we say what is the enlargement times or times enlarged and length of bacteria in centimeters. So, it says that what is the actual length of the bacteria. So, if it is enlarged 50,000 times, the length is 5 centimeters. What is the actual length of the bacteria? Now, actual length will be when there is no enlargement, right? When there is no enlargement. So, enlargement times is 1. Enlargement times is 1. And then we have to calculate what is the length. What is the length? So, we have ascertained that since it is a case of direct proportion, x1 by y1 equals to x2 by y2. This implies, just by substituting, we say 50,000 divided by 5 equals to 1 upon A. So, what is the value of A? 5 upon 50,000, that is equal to 1 upon 10,000. How can you write 1 upon 10,000? Can I write it as 1 upon 10 to the power 4? And we know that A to the power m equals to 1 by A to the A to the power minus m is equal to 1 upon A to the power m. So, can I write it as 10 to the power minus 4? Therefore, we find that length, the actual length of bacteria is 10 to the power minus 4 centimeters, right? Is it making sense? Now, many a times I have found that students will just read half of the question, and in the hurry of completion they will miss out on reading the second part. So, do not forget, there is also a second part which says that if the photograph is enlarged 20,000 times, what would be the enlarged length, right? So, nothing we have to do. This is already there with us. This part remains the same. It says if the photograph is enlarged 20,000 times, what would be the enlarged length? So, again we let the enlarged length be A, and since two quantities are in direct proportion, this ratio will be the same. I just have to substitute the values. So, nothing, 50,000 divided by 5 equals to 20,000 divided by A. Now, how do you do it? You take A this side, A equals to 20,000 into 5 divided by 50,000. So this gets cut, this gets cut, this gets cut, this gets cut. So you get A as 2 centimeters. So if we enlarge the photograph 20,000 times, then the length of the enlarged length of the bacteria will be 2 centimeters. So this makes sense. The concept remains same, the steps remain the same. Just see, tabulate first, establish the direct relationship, and just use this fundamental that x1 by y1 equals to x2 by y2. Whatever is the missing value, you can let that value be a, b, c or any variable. Just substitute values and you will arrive at the enlarged length or whatever you want to, whatever is the missing value that you have been asked to find out.